In the late 1800s, a few pioneering scientists held a truly extraordinary belief. They thought they could literally see and capture thoughts, not just as abstract concepts, but as tangible images. This wasn't a metaphor. They genuinely believed the human mind's activity could be photographed. Their ambitious plan was to photograph the human mind at work, to visually document the very essence of thought. To achieve this, they designed and constructed some truly bizarre and elaborate machines, convinced these contraptions would provide the evidence they sought. Yes, they built these strange devices specifically to prove their theories about thought photography. Welcome to a fascinating and often perplexing era, a time when the boundaries between emerging scientific inquiry, ancient mysticism, and what we now recognize as rather questionable ideas were blurred, often sharing the same laboratory space and intellectual curiosity. This is the captivating story of how determined individuals attempted to transform elusive brainwaves into concrete pictures, striving to visualize the inner workings of the mind. This endeavor took place a full century before the advent of modern digital imaging and the ubiquitous Instagram filters we know today. Back in the 1800s, photography itself was a relatively new invention, still in its infancy, and consequently, it was perceived by many as something truly magical and almost supernatural. Its ability to capture and preserve images seemed nothing short of miraculous. Many people at the time believed that cameras possessed the power to capture not just physical likenesses, but also intangible elements like souls and auras. When you combine this widespread belief with the nascent field of neuroscience and a significant dose of spiritualist hype, the result was the intriguing, albeit misguided, concept of thought photography. One of the most prominent figures in this peculiar field was a French inventor named Louis Darget. Around the year 1899, Darget engaged in a series of experiments where he would press photographic plates directly against people's foreheads. He was firmly convinced that the subtle energy emanating from the brain could somehow burn or imprint images of their thoughts directly onto the photographic film. Darget meticulously documented his findings, claiming to have observed various shapes and forms on these plates. He reported seeing indistinct outlines of faces, recognizable animals, and even specific objects that the subjects were actively imagining during the experiment. These blurry images, he believed, were direct visual representations of their inner thoughts. However, a quick spoiler alert from the perspective of modern science, the consensus today is that these supposed thought images were, in reality, nothing more than random patterns caused by incidental light exposure or other photographic artifacts, rather than genuine mental projections. Louis Darget was certainly not an isolated case in his pursuit of thought photography. Other notable figures, such as Dr. Hippolyte Baraduc, also dedicated their efforts to capturing what they termed the vital force associated with human thoughts and emotions, believing it could be visually recorded. Dr. Baraduc asserted that distinct emotions like joy, anger, and fear each emitted unique energy patterns, which he believed could be photographed. He envisioned these patterns as a kind of 19th century equivalent of mood rings, but with a far more unsettling and mysterious quality, attempting to visualize the invisible emotional states of individuals. In one particularly famous and rather macabre instance, Baraduc went so far as to attempt to photograph his own wife's spirit at the very moment of her passing. He hoped to capture a visual record of her soul as it departed her body, a testament to the era's blend of scientific curiosity and spiritualist beliefs. The photographic result of this somber experiment was a highly indistinct, hazy blob. Despite its ambiguity, Baraduc adamantly swore that this blurry image was indeed her soul in the act of leaving her physical form. Today, with our understanding of photography, we would simply attribute such an image to common camera shake or other technical imperfections. So, the question arises, why did intelligent and educated individuals of that era genuinely believe in such concepts? The context is crucial. At the time, groundbreaking discoveries like electricity, X-rays, and radio waves were all brand new, revolutionary scientific advancements that were just beginning to be understood and harnessed. These new discoveries created a profound sense that invisible forces were at play all around them, capable of astonishing feats. It suddenly seemed plausible that if these unseen energies could power lights or reveal bones, they might also possess the power to capture and manifest human thoughts. And, in a strange twist of historical irony, these early pioneers weren't entirely wrong in their fundamental premise. Modern technologies, such as electroencephalograms and functional magnetic resonance imaging scanners, do indeed record and visualize brain activity, providing insights into the mind's workings. The key difference, however, is that these sophisticated modern techniques achieve their results through advanced scientific principles and precise instrumentation. They certainly didn't require any mystical or haunted photographic film plates to accomplish the task of observing brain activity. Therefore, while the Victorians ultimately did not succeed in literally photographing thoughts in the way they envisioned, their audacious and often peculiar experiments represent the very first, albeit fumbling, baby steps toward the sophisticated field of modern brain imaging. Their curiosity paved the way for future scientific exploration. And honestly, one must truly respect the sheer level of scientific imagination and unbridled curiosity that drove these individuals. It took an extraordinary blend of intellectual daring, a willingness to explore the unknown, and perhaps a significant amount of caffeine to fuel such ambitious and unconventional research. If you find yourself captivated by these kinds of weird and wonderful stories, where the realms of science and the supernatural awkwardly yet intriguingly intersect, then we invite you to hit that subscribe button.